Hello and welcome back to the Morton Green Room. I'm Asher Hill, and today we have one of our own here, Miss Nena Gilreath. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
So, Nena, let me just ask you, Nena, what do you do here? What is your job title?
I am the facility supervisor and program supervisor at the East Athens Educational Dance Center.
Gotcha. And what does that roughly translate to in layman terms?
Okay, in layman terms, that is like the director of the facility. I make sure that everything goes smoothly, all the programs go smoothly, and that my staff does what they're supposed to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis.
Cool. And how long have you been at that position?
Wow, that's a good question. Almost 4 years. Yeah.
Wow. That's actually just about a year longer than I've been here, so.
Well, we're still relatively new, right?
Yeah. So I guess let's roll back a little bit, way back to when you started in this field. What got you interested, and when about was that?
Oh my gosh, into the field. I started in the field as a dancer. So I've been a dancer most of my life. I'm from North Carolina. And as a younger child, I always loved to move. I always was putting together movement and dances in my basement. I made my brother and my sister dance. Any of my friends that came over, they had to dance, but I didn't start formal training until I was 13 years old. And I trained at a local studio, and then eventually I was able to attend the North Carolina School of the Arts, which is a conservatory program funded by the government. And I graduated from there with a BFA in dance and specifically ballet.
What years did you go there, by the way?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard one. In the 80s, 81 to 84.
81 to 84.
Yeah.
When you got out of college, did you have a lucky break per se?
Yeah, I did actually. When I was studying at the North Carolina School of the Arts, my jazz teacher, Marcus Alford, he decided that he was moving to Atlanta to take over an associate directorship at the Ruth Mitchell Dance Theater. So once he got to Atlanta, he was looking for dancers. So he called me and I was graduating. He was like, if you want to come to Atlanta, I have a job for you at the Ruth Mitchell Dance Theater, and I gladly accepted and moved to Atlanta. That was my first professional job, and I really, really liked Atlanta. I enjoyed dancing with Ruth Mitchell, and that was my first opportunity to start local touring because we did a lot of little van and bus and truck little touring. So it was a lot of fun, and it was diverse because we did ballet, jazz, modern. It was a mixture of dance forms.
I'm glad you said the word diverse because I feel like that's going to be an important topic here. When we talk about your dance program, I feel like diversity is one of the key words. How did you get into that, and do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think part of the diversity has been my personal mission. When I studied ballet or when I saw ballet, there were not a lot of Black young girls that I saw. So once I attended the North Carolina School of the Arts, there were still very few of us young Black women and men in ballet. And that was difficult because we were the minority, but there was a diverse population of other people from all over the world in North Carolina. So I really started to appreciate that. Because in my neighborhood, everybody was Black or white. There wasn't the world diversity of culture and ethnicities. So for me, it opened up a whole wide world. So once I started training, I figured out there would be other young Black girls and boys that would want to do something creative and they might not have the opportunity. So as I started to study, that became part of my personal mission. And then dancing, there's a lot that really attributes to that whole diversity thing. After dancing with Ruth Mitchell, I moved to New York, and I danced at the Dance Theater of Harlem. So that's very diverse. New York has everybody, everything, all cultures. So that enlightened me further. And then eventually I moved back to Atlanta, and I knew that with my teaching and what I wanted to do, I wanted to be able to impact people. I wanted diverse groups of people to be able to work together to share culture and to make the arts better, through that different sharing of everything.
Absolutely. So, in your position now at ACC, how are you implementing that inspiration in your day-to-day projects?
Yeah, it's actually at East Athens Educational Dance Center. It's very easy. Lois, the founder before me, she already implemented the opportunity for brown, black, all girls, all kids, all boys to come into the dance center. And so now all we do is put the information out there that we're open and that we welcome everybody, all diversity, all cultures, and then the dance offerings that we have. There's something for everybody from ballet all the way to tap, modern, African jazz, hip hop. We have adult classes, we have family classes, we have family drum classes. So there is something for everybody. When we've done the day of dance, we've had Indian dance. So everybody can come in and try a little bit of something. And then, of course, people can share what they do naturally.
So, it's really more than just opening up to people of different ethnicities and cultures. It's exploring the art of those cultures as well.
It really is. And sometimes it's extended to sharing the food as well. Because when you really learn about other people and their culture, I think that's when there's more understanding put on the table. And then we understand that we're more alike than different, and we share the same sort of influences. So that's been fascinating for me. And anytime you sit down and you break bread and you eat with people, it opens up a whole different world of understanding.
Absolutely. So, rolling back a little bit to the more technical aspects of your position, what sort of responsibilities do you typically take on during a show, like before, during, after? How does it all go down?
All right. There's a lot that goes down before a show. First of all, you have to have a vision for the show. And I think that's the best part. Sometimes a vision comes from, like, I work with my program specialist, Ronnie Anderson. And during COVID, especially, we've had the opportunity to walk trails. So being out in nature, there's a lot of inspiration. So we just think of things that inspire us. Our last show that we did here at the Morton was called Emotions. So the
It was a beautiful
impetus,
show, by
thank
the
you,
way.
thank you. The impetus behind that show was that we wanted our teens to be able to express themselves more freely. A lot of them were very quiet for teens, and they really were not that expressive. So once you get to a level in dance that you know the technical aspect, you have to show it in your face and your body language. So I created the idea that we would express ourselves through different emotions like anger, fear, sadness, and a whole array of emotions. And with that, then we have to look for music that expresses those same emotions. So in the making of a show, we have the vision, and then we have to look for all the things that support the vision, whether it's the music, the choreography, the costume. So we start putting that together. We put together the rehearsal schedule. Then we have to have meetings with the parents. Then we have to make sure that the dancers are all on board with all of the scheduling. And of course, we have to work with you guys at the Morton to make sure that we give you what you need. So we have the proper lighting and all the stage effects. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. And not only do we work to put together the show, we also have classes for students that aren't in our shows yet. They're just trying dance. So we have to make sure that that programming works smoothly. We have to make sure that the building is up and running and clean, and there's checklists of all the things that go on in the building. And then, of course, the administrative part of that as well on a day-to-day basis, as well as all of the meetings that we have to go to. So it's pretty extensive, but, I'm able to manage it by just staying on top of my calendar and my schedule.
So, when you say we, who are we talking about? Who else is involved in your program?
So staff-wise, I have Ronnie Anderson, who's the program specialist, and then Nena Gilreath, she's the theater assistant. So we have a small team, the three of us staff-wise, but what's great about our team is that we complement one another. And there's skill sets that everyone has that's important, that makes everything go really, really well. Ronnie is really good with all the artistic choreography and teaching, and then both of them are really great with administrative and the social media aspect. So that's our small team. And then we have a host of teachers as well that come through that help us and assist us with all the different classes. And I teach as well. My specialty is ballet, and I teach from foundational ballet to high level all the way through college ballet.
So, what if you could point out one misconception or one myth about your profession, something that a lot of people misunderstand? What would that be?
There's so many things. People think that it's just easy and that you just can just jump up and dance. I mean, how many times I would be very wealthy if I thought about all the times people say, can you just do a step, just jump up and dance? We are artistic athletes. We warm up before we perform. It really takes, if you want to be a professional dancer, it takes 10 years of concentrated study. It's not easy. It's a dedication, because your body is your tool. You really have to maintain and take care of your body. You have to eat right, because it is your body. The fuel that goes into it is very important if you want to get the maximum results. And dancers are very smart. We use our bodies and our minds all together to create magic. So there are a lot of misconceptions. There's misconceptions that men don't dance, or that men are effeminate if they do dance, which is not true. There's so many stereotypes about dancing, and it's a calling. I think that people that stay in the field and they really are creatives for a long time, it's like any other thing. You're called to do it, and you have to do it.
I can personally attest to how difficult dance is. I know I don't look like it, but I did like 3 or 4 sessions of river dance as a kid.
Oh,
It's
yeah, it's no joke, right?
it's no joke.
Yeah.
Didn't work out for me.
It didn't work out. You can always try it again. You
Yeah.
can come up and take a class or two. Yeah.
Turns out I enjoyed watching it a lot more.
Well, we need people on either side of the stage, right?
So, I feel that it's relatively common knowledge in the theater world that things don't always go as planned. While choreography and planning are incredibly important in your field, things will always come up, things will always go wrong. Do you have any examples of when that happened, and how you and your staff reacted, how you put things back on track?
Oh, yeah, they are always. The best kept plans never meet the encounter with the enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are so many things, simply like a little puddle of sweat on the floor, and you go, soup, and you're on the ground, you've fallen. So really, we teach the dancers you have to keep moving. You have to get up and keep going forward. Or there are moments sometimes when we talk about putting fuel in your body. If you don't eat the right time, you might not have enough energy to stay focused for 2 hours under the lights, because it gets very hot on stage. Or you might get dehydrated and space out a little bit, and you have to keep moving. Me personally, I remember a show when I was dancing full time. The stage was slick, and I had on new point shoes. I fell in a performance 5 times. That was awful. The first time I was like, oh, fluke. Second time I was like, oh. Third time I was like, oh. Fourth time I was like, this is not a good day.
That's like, forgot to wear your pants to work in a dream, sort of.
Yes, it was horrendous. And then the worst part about it, after the show, we had a question and answer session, and a young lady raised her hand, and I was like, here we go with this. She's like, is the lady that kept falling okay? I was like, that would be me, and I'm fine. So each time you have to get up and keep moving, right? But it was horribly embarrassing. But after the third time, I was like, okay, this is a bad day, but I'm going to get through it and live to talk about it.
Have you had a favorite show or production to date, one that really stands out in your memory?
That's a good one. I've had 2 that I really loved while being here in Athens. I loved the Soul Music Show, and that was a lot of fun for me, because we were able to introduce soul music, R&B music to the students at the dance center in a different way. And one of the people that I love to work with, Adam L. McKnight, he wrote a lot of the music. So the students were able to work with someone who wrote and produced his own CD. I don't think they fully understood that at the time, but I wanted them to understand that kind of concept, that as a creative, you can be a producer as well. I love the soul music show because it was original music. And then the show that we just did, the emotion show, was a lot of fun because we were able to express so many things. And then utilizing the cast from the very young to, we had the professional dancers from Balethnic on stage with us as well. So just a sharing and a smorgasbord of all types of talent, as well as two of the dancers that I work with from UGA. That was a lot of fun. So it's always nice to be able to pour into an array of artists. And then, of course, here at the Morton, you guys always do such great support, especially the sound support. It's magical. The theater here is very intimate. So all the seats, you can see everything. So it's a lot of fun when we come here and perform.
We really appreciate the praise. It's
Thank
always a
you.
pleasure having you here too.
Thank you.
So we're getting to the end here. Got just a couple more questions for you. For anyone looking to get into the field of dance, of professional dance, or of choreography, what advice would you offer?
All right. I tell my students and some of the students that I've worked with or that I do work with at UGA, at East Athens Educational Dance Center, all the students, all the professional dancers that I work with, you have to have patience. You have to be dedicated. We're at a time where there's social media and people think that becoming something great is magic and it's overnight. There's no overnight success. Anytime someone's been doing something and doing it well and proficiently, they have been putting the time in. So you have to be able to put the time in, and not just the time when you're with the teacher during the time of instruction. Before class, after class, you really have to be committed and dedicated. You really have to dream big, put the work in. I always say work is the star, work equals results. And don't make excuses and no whining. I have a whole list of things that I tell people. It's hard to be on stage. It's not easy, and it's a huge commitment. So if you want to be a performer, it is work. It's not just the 2 hours or the 15 minutes or what you see on stage. There's been like many, many hours before you ever hit the stage. And honestly, most of the time, by the time you get to the stage, as a performer, you're exhausted. So that's when you really have to depend on or rely on the adrenaline and the energy from your audience. So I would say it's just really hard work and commitment, dedication, tenacity. There's a whole list of things.
I think that's great general advice for anything in the technical field. Just being persistent, it doesn't happen all at once.
Right. Be committed. Yeah.
So our final question, we like to address the elephant in the room. COVID-19 has changed a lot of things in the theater world and the technical world. How has it affected you and your program, and how are you responding to it?
Yeah, COVID-19 really, it has been tough. I think once I really understood that it wasn't going away anytime soon, and that we really had to think of ways to do what we do in a different way, that it was going to be different, that part gave me a little bit of boost of energy. So we were able to work with our accelerated students, small groups within the dance center. And so they were so excited to be able to come back to the dance center. They really poured in a whole new commitment. And what I kept telling the students there, gratitude. We really have to work in gratitude. So I think once we figured out that, the rest really just kind of worked very well. We decided we would do a photo shoot, get some really nice photos. We would get video footage, and then we would really work on fine-tuning our technique while socially distancing. So that part has worked well, really enhancing skills so when we come out of COVID that we're better all the way around. And then starting to think about ideas for new shows And for me personally, new professional innovations for myself. All the things that I didn't have time to do in a normal non-COVID time, I wanted to learn new skills. So that's been very exciting. And the silver lining, and with WebEx and some Zoom things, I've been able to connect with people nationally, many of my friends in New York and all over the world, and teach classes online. So it's been a really exciting and exhausting time, but I'll go back to gratitude is everything. And once I figured out just being thankful, many people got really sick. Some people didn't make it. So as long as I always underscored being grateful and grateful for the opportunities that we still have, I think, my leadership has been that we just move forward in that kind of manner.
I think that's a really good outlook. It's very positive.
Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming events or shows that you have in the work right now?
Yeah, so things that we're working on now, we're going to do a kind of low scale showing of some of the things we've been working with the dancers at East Athens Educational Dance Center in October. So now we're just trying to figure out how we're going to do that and get a few parents in the building and then be able to either stream it or do a video for them. So that's what we're working on now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You have any final thoughts for the camera before we wrap this up?
Final thoughts for the camera. Well, I'm just grateful for this opportunity. I'm hoping that we're able to do more things like this at the Morton. And maybe we can come and do a little dance demonstration on this very stage. So we're ready.
Absolutely. That would be wonderful,
Yeah.
actually. Well, thank you so much for your time, Nena. It has been a pleasure. One more time, everyone, Nena Gilreath. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.